Houston, what up? I said, Houston, what's up? I'm just making sure we're in the right place, man. I am really, really excited about this release. This book is interesting, isn't it? Even the title, You Deserve to Be Rich. Anybody here deserve to be rich? Anybody here deserves to be rich? You deserve to be rich. Really? Somebody do me a favor, and I haven't checked this before, but I think we know what rich means, right? What does rich mean? Financially free? What is rich? Time freedom? I remember having a whole lot of time freedom. I had no money. I don't know if I call it rich. Somebody look up the definition of rich real quick. Somebody look it up real quick. I don't know if I was going to read like that in the definition, but just look it up. Because if we want to be rich, we need to at least know what it means, right? Yes, sir.
Oh, I was going to read the definition.
Thank you, because they just shouting out stuff. What you got?
Having a great deal of money or assets.
Having a great deal of money or assets. Anybody rich in here? By definition. So here's what's cool. So I was afraid of this rich word because I felt like it was only for people who don't care about people. And I remember having a mentor, he's always talking about getting rich. I'm like, yo, he always talking about the money. He can't be saved. You know what I mean? He can't be Christian talking about money all the time. But he started telling me all the things that he did with the money that he made. It kind of changed the mindset that I had. So I think it is an obligation, especially for our neighborhood, for our family, that we go get rich. Am I right? I felt the responsibility to go get rich because my mom never really had much. She always talked about having a Mercedes-Benz. She always talked about wanting to really make some money and live in these big houses because she went and got a real estate license, never really made any money. But what happened was I saw her take care of me and my brother for 16 years straight. For me, 16 years. But it's interesting that a parent can take care of 2, 3, 4 children for 16, 17 years straight, house them, clothe them, and feed them. But when those kids get older, they can't come together and take care of that one parent. I said, something is wrong here. It should be that way, right? So I had a responsibility to go get rich. And I knew we were on the right track when I gave my mom an American Express card with her name on it. Woo! I was talking to my friend Terica. I said, how did you know you made it? How did you know? She said, I knew I made it, man. I went to the grocery store, got all our groceries, got to pay, and paid for it without checking the account balance. She said, for her, that's how I knew. And I think everyone here is on a journey to go get rich, but not just so you can ball out or live your best life, but we have a responsibility. So how many people deserve to get rich? Okay. All right, now I need you to do me a favor. Another definition, the word deserve. I think that's important, right? If we deserve to be rich, we understand the rich part. We got to go get abundance financially. But I think I need to know that deserve word. Go for it. Real loud.
Deserve. Do something or have or show quality worthy of quote unquote reward or punishment.
It's not really the fee.
Do something. What else?
It's something to do with
do something or have or show qualities worthy of.
Qualities worthy of. How many here deserve to be rich? Okay. If I followed you for the last 2 weeks, January 1st to today, I followed you with a camera and I said, yo, at the end of this 2 weeks, what I say, based on what this person does, the qualities that they show, what I say they deserve to be rich. Yes? Yes? You? Clear, man. Come on, I like it. Give a round of applause. That's what you do.
Well, it's quite a pleasure to be in front of all of y'all. Let me shout out my little wife, Jasmine. I'm Daniel Jackson. I'm a huge fan of your podcast, Earn Your Leisure, as you all are, right? Shout out to y'all for being here. But what I do, I'm a financial advisor. I just started my practice back in October. Thank you. So, how did I get there? What did I do the past 2 weeks? Oh, I educated the community in how they could get rich and how they could change their families' lives as well.
You say you educate the community, what do you mean?
Well, as a financial advisor, I meet with people just like yourselves. I figure out what your goals are.
How many people did you meet with?
Well, I usually meet with about 10 to 15 people a week.
So about 2 a day?
Yes, sir.
How long do those meetings last typically?
About an hour.
So out of 24 hours, you spend about 2 hours talking to clients. What do we do with the other 22?
Strategize, educate myself so that I'm a better advisor every day. Read Bible.
I'll stop it right now. Okay, what could we do more of?
As a community?
As you, as an entrepreneur?
I think I could touch more people. I could get in front of more people, do more work. I'm looking forward to doing more community service and impact.
I don't think that's going to get us rich. Okay. How many clients do we plan on having this year?
I plan on attaining.
Yep, you better make up a number.
As myself, I think.
Yeah, we're just not going to ask myself. Like, who else? Okay, so here's the thing. I understand. What I want, you just made it up. What I want to do, and I think you can get there, but we can't get there without a target. So if I was talking to Ian backstage, and he said, even before he got here, he read about 70 pages of information looking at the economy, the world as a whole. About 70 pages. If we thought, he was on my pocket, and I'm not going to lie. Oh, there's a lie. He said he read, I think, like 30 or 40 books a month. I'm like, yeah, you're lying. But then I started to think about this. I'm judging him based off my own ability to consume information. But I do believe if we followed Ian for the first 2 weeks of January, I would say, yeah, he deserves what he got. But the 2 cars every single day is not going to get it. And we're not going to get it unless we have a target. Question for y'all, and y'all don't even know this, brother. Let's say he said his target was 5 people a day to talk to. How many people do you think he talked to?
5.
Why? Because we have a target. Without no target, we're letting life take us wherever life takes us. Thank you so much. Give a round of applause. Deserve. If you deserve to be rich, you have to do something to get rich. You have to do something to deserve it. So I want y'all to take 2 minutes. 2 minutes. I want you to identify what happens every single day for you to deserve to get rich. I followed these brothers for the last couple days, and I realized, whoa, they deserve everything they got. 5 cities in 5 days? And it's not just, okay, fly in, come talk. They're going to radio. They're doing press. They're still doing the things that they do on a regular basis. They're still handling their business. They deserve to get rich. We think that we deserve it just because we deserve it. My daughter doesn't deserve toys just because she's my daughter. You understand what I'm saying? So we're going to deserve it this year, right?
As we listen to Dave
speak, it made me think of 2019, one of the first stops we ever came to was Houston. People really didn't know what was going on. 6 years later, here we are with a book about information, and now people know what's going on. There's still a quiet revolution that's happening, and y'all are all part of it. So I want to thank y'all for being here tonight. Thank y'all for getting the book. And most importantly, thank y'all for spreading the word about what's happening inside our community. This is definitely changing. Even when they don't talk about it, we know it's changing. We can feel it, we can see it, because we deserve it, John.
Yeah, let's get it, man.
Let's get to it.
So back that they had to have two rooms.
This is the first.
So the book You Deserve to Be Rich, and I think the subtitle was interesting. Master the Inner Game of Wealth. And I think most people think that wealth is about the external. If you just tell me what to do, I'll just do it. But where did this subtitle come from? Master the Inner Game of Wealth.
Yeah, wealth has trappings, success has the trappings of what it looks like to be successful. But I'm not even take an autopsy of what success really looks like, what wealth really looks like. And that a lot of times is not as flashy or celebrated on social media. But, that's the real grunt work, the disciplined approach, the, having a budget, saving, retirement, investing, stocks. These are all things that, when you look at how people usually become wealthy, entrepreneurship, understanding the tax code, that's not sexy, right? That's not something that, for the most part, you can actually look at somebody and see this person really understands tax code, right? So we wanted to break that down and really peel back the layers to you, real life examples from fictional characters, because we think that kind of makes it more attainable for you to fully understand and fully relate to. But yeah, they talk about the inner game of wealth. That's what it really means. Like really doing the work to actually see behind the glitter, the glam, what is wealth, how is it developed, how is financial freedom actually established, what are the steps to take to get there, what are the steps to maintain the money once you actually get it. These are all things that's very important.
Yeah, I think it's a double entendre. We huge hip hop fans, and so that we kind of just by chance happen to be talking about the other part of the end, and that's the emotional psychology that goes into being wealthy, right? Which is why the title is You Deserve It. Because most people don't have that mindset that they think they deserve it. They don't think it's in their birthright. They've never seen it. They've never come in proximity to it. So we got to get that mind frame first, right? We talk about financial trauma. We talk about building blocks. These are the things that are fundamental to us overcoming that fear and that mindset that we can't do it, right? Even now, today we're talking to you about investing, and I'm like, you gotta get your emotions right? In order to do that, right? And even as you as successful as an entrepreneur, that you are, there's still that psychology piece that we don't do. So we want to get to success so fast because we haven't had it for so long that we make mistakes. And so we've seen that happen for generations and generations. But who fixes it? Right? How do we fix it? Who creates the blueprint? Who talks to us? There's been plenty of publications in the world of finance and literature, but it didn't speak to us, right? Like when you get this book, and they've had it for a couple of days now, it speaks to you. Right? We wanted it to feel that way. We were super intentional. We wanted it to sound like us, but we wanted it to feel like us too. Because that inner piece is important, right? You're gonna feel this, and you're gonna react, because the emotional piece is just as important as the actual activation of that execution piece.
So I want to get into y'all got the book, right? Okay. You got a book combination, right?
Y'all enjoying the book? Yeah. 2 people enjoying the book. Okay.
Okay. I want y'all to turn in your books to 1 Troy chapter 2. Okay, we're on page 47. Open the book, 47. We're going together. So you can actually say you read. Now let me ask this question: how many people haven't read a book since high school? Cover to cover, high school, college.
Okay. So what you say? You ain't read one yet.
There are gems in here that the people that don't get the book will never find. If I wouldn't have read this chapter right here, I'd have never found this out. Look what it says, right? The chapter is dealing with financial trauma. Our ability to operate at our highest financial level has everything to do with how we were raised to understand money. I never thought of it like that. Flip the page real quick. There's a subtitle that says, how you feel about yourself is reflected in your relationship with money. So I'd love for you all to explain that, because this is, chapter 2 is my favorite chapter. And can y'all commit to reading chapter 2 tonight? Okay, cool. I like that. I like that. Did you leave a review on the book, though? Did you leave a review on Amazon? Thank you, I appreciate that. Okay. So, how you feel about yourself is reflected in your relationship with money. Explain it.
Yeah, for sure. You know, a lot of times, most people look at money as a voucher that you use to spend to get items, right? And when you look at it as a vehicle to actually grow, to make more money. And that's because psychologically, a lot of times, you know, we come from a generation where it's like blow money fast. I mean, like that's been the theme, like ball till you fall. Like spend money as fast as you possibly can on things that's going to gratify you in the moment, because you're not worried about tomorrow. YOLO. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but that comes from trauma. That comes from you don't think about the future because you don't think you have a future, right? And that comes from, you know, if you don't really see a pathway to be successful at 70 and 60, you see, you know, older people and they're going through dialysis. Their life is so hard, or if they might be incarcerated, they might be dead. It's like you don't have an example of somebody that's like 70 that's really rich and wealthy and just living on a yacht. So you don't value the money because you're not thinking long term. But once you start to reverse engineer the way that you think, then you'll reevaluate the way you feel about money. And you'll also think like, okay, it's nice to have nice things, like, you know, but that's not the primary focus for getting money. The primary focus for getting money is not to buy things, right? That's a consumer mindset that also comes from an inferiority standpoint, where it's like, the more that I have to show to other people because I have to show you that I have more money than you, right? When you go to like Dubai, everybody looks the same. You won't really know who has more money than each other, but they have a lot of money. But that comes from maturity. They don't really have to try to show you how much money that they have. Like, that's not the goal. The goal is to business, stocks, investing, oil, and that's more important. It's like they actually don't want you to know they have money at all. Really, like, you know, you might, if you know, they might have a nice watch on, stuff like that. But for the most part, it's a very modest way that they actually, you know, present themselves. So that's just important, you know. Of course, like I said, it's a balance in life. So we never want to be extremists. We never want to say save all your money and don't do anything. And, you know, but, you know, it is something to be said as far as psychologically how you feel about yourself and how you value money and what you do with money. There is a direct correlation. So a lot of times we don't even realize that, you know, it's in the subconscious. So the first thing you do is have to actually, it's like going to therapy. The first thing you have to do is actually know that you have a problem. Right? Because if you don't ever acknowledge that you have a problem, you're just going to go through life with the same problem, then that problem will get passed down to your children, to their children's children. So first thing you do is acknowledge it. And it's an everyday battle. You know what I'm saying? One day at a time. It's not something that you can just change your whole life in 1 hour, right? Like every day you have to fight that. You have to fight consumerism. You have to fight the urge to want to just spend money on frivolous things. You have to fight the urge to blow money fast, and, you know, spend it because there's no tomorrow's not guaranteed. But what does that mean? Nothing is guaranteed, but you still plan for the future. So, you know, just rewiring the thing that the way that we think, I think, is a very important thing psychologically. That's why, you know, for the first part of the book, that's like the main focus. The second part of the book, that you take on.
That's right, man. If we don't know what to do, we don't do what we know, and that's spend money. We know how to do that. We know how to be consumers. In fact, there's a certain level of selfishness that we have when it comes to that. Right? Like, I remember being in rooms at 25, 26, I'm talking about life insurance because my partner I just got life insurance plan with him. They're like, I ain't thinking about that. I'm like, you got kids. They're like, they got to figure it out. Like, it's just a level of selfishness. But there's grace that we have to have inside of that, right? First, it's the recognition, but we're realizing that you're the first generation to be fearful. Somebody in this room is the first generation for their family. And we're still trying to figure it out, right? There is no model. I remember going to Davos, and this is part of that other inner, right? We get to go to these spaces where we're around love and around people who have wealth. I'm not talking about people who are rich. And there's a distinction between the two, right? Get rich, become wealthy. In that order, right? And I remember it was like, I had a watch on, and we got around this guy. He had just bought the Forbes, like the company magazine. No joke, for real. And we're talking to him. He looked at my watch, and he was like, "Oh, nice, new money."
Disrespect.
Yeah. I was like, just bought the Forbes, so let me just play it cool. But I understood what he was saying. It was like, for me, it was like, yo, I got this watch because I deserved it. I worked hard for it. But to him, it was like, oh, this guy has just come into this because everybody else had some planes and diamonds in it. I was like, ooh. But I had to have grace for myself. All right, well, that's what wealth looks like when you serve it. Let me go tell the people. All right, let's go back and tell the people, hey, guys, when you do this, make sure that it's fact. Make sure that you're doing something that's going to appreciate you. Make sure that you don't have something that is you can't have to sell in the future. Like, these are the lessons that are going inside of the building. So, like I said, a lot of times we think selfishly about it, but it's the mindset. First, figure out why we're doing it. How do we create actual steps to change that? Not just for us, but for our children, for our community too, right? Like, we have to create, we are the models. People in this room right now, they are the models in their community. That changes things systemically.
I think we clap that. I think y'all did a phenomenal job of breaking down pretty much every part of everybody in this room. So as I'm reading it, I'm like, yo, they wrote that for me, right? And I think I've done okay as an entrepreneur, but I think the average person, you got parts in here about hoarding money and shopping emotionally. Here's another, okay, go to 59. This is going to trigger some of y'all. Spending excessively. But it's so deep, it's not just like, hey, don't spend, right? We're still talking about the financial trauma. Y'all there? Okay. I wish I had like a reader at church. Like, read this. Spending excessively. At the other end of the spectrum, spending like there's no tomorrow is also rooted in financial trauma. It reflects the belief that since there will never be enough anyway, I might as well live now. The nonchalant attitude behind this energy masks a sadder reality. It suggests that you've given up on any possibility that your financial future can be any different from your current experience. And I think you just alluded to that, Rashad. Like, I don't have the people that line up for Jordans when they release are people who are spending their last 300. They got 500 in the bank. Because I have 500, I can spend 220. But I thought that was super key. And y'all went into emotional spending. So have y'all went through the emotional spending yourself?
Of course, man. I mean, everybody does, right? Like, we have needs, right? Or we have wants and we have needs, and we think that we need these things. The Jordan thing is a great example. When I was teaching, I had a colleague of mine that was critical of a young kid who got Jordans. And they were like, they can't send them to school with food, but they can send them to school with Jordans. And I was like, she don't get it. Because there's an emotional attachment, right? Jordans in our neighborhood is like a standard, right? So even if I can't provide everything, you can at least have this. And I had to explain that to them. The other part of it is that the educational process for the parent is like, hey, you could have invested that money, and now you could have provided for so much more. And so we do a lot of emotional spending because for so long, I said, we haven't had it. We're trying to make up for the time. We don't realize that this is the way. But nobody said there's no corrective steps to do it up until this now. The past, I would say 5-6 years, since I usually that's changing. Because we need a course of passion. We've seen this for 50, 60 years. We already know that the odds are stacked against us. We know systemically the game isn't great for us, but there's still ways to win. And it starts with the money.
This is so good. This book is so good. So you are entrepreneurs, right? And I thought it was cool because in the chapter 7 about entrepreneurship, a beautiful struggle, you warn people that entrepreneurship may not be for you.
How many entrepreneurs in the room? Beautiful Struggle is a good chapter title?
Yeah. Let's talk about, let's go to page 195. 195.
Come on, champ. Gotta get there.
Y'all there? Okay, we read together. So that you can actually say, I read the book. I need you to engage with the book, okay? I want you to know that there are some jewels in here, and it is your responsibility when you get home to find the rest of them. Okay? All right, cool. All right. Struggling with time management, work-life balance. Yo, I promise you, they touched everything in this book. It says the most effective way to add boundaries to your work life is to create a schedule. I thought super key. Shad, talk to me about a schedule as an entrepreneur. And then I want to come to you, Troy, because you're married. I think the schedule is even more important.
A little different.
So talk about work-life balance for you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's one of these things where you want to try your hardest, but there is not going to be a work-life balance that's healthy if you want to become great. So that just depends on if you want to become great or not. If you want to be good, then you can have a work-life balance that is suitable for the average person. But if you want to be exceptional, there is no normal work-life balance. The job is done when it's over. That's when the job is done. But it is good to have a system. You do need to be organized and, have a calendar. You do need to have, set schedule, to-do list. I learned to-do list when I was in college, and that's something I've been doing every single day ever since. And it's vitally important, win the day. That's been my motto, win the day. So I got 30 things on my to-do list. I don't care how long it's going to take me to get it done, but I know I just got to get it done. It might take me 1 hour, or it might take me 17 hours. But we know we got to get that done. And then tomorrow, we got to get the next thing done. So having that organized, I think, is vitally important, because what happens a lot of times is that you just end up winging it. Then you just fly in every direction possible. So there's a difference. When I said there's no work-life balance, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be organized. Organizational skills are extremely important for entrepreneurs. Delegation is extremely important. Having tasks, to-do lists is extremely important. Having a calendar is extremely important. But I'm just saying, your calendar might be 17 hours. That might be your calendar.
Yeah, I think when I was talking to you about when you left your job, people think, oh, my business isn't growing because I got this job. If I quit the job, I'll have more time. Anybody went into that mistake? Them days get so long because you don't have the job now. You gotta you go grocery shopping. People want you just have all this time. So you left. Okay, 180, page 180. Let's go. I like what's going on here.
You was rocking.
They rocking. Engaged. Who got their highlighter? Highlighter. This is good. At the bottom of 180 it says, and we're talking about Troy when you left your job, he knew it was time to leave when two things happened. Spending time after his workday was over to work on EYL was no longer enough, and he was ready to focus exclusively on the brand. Financially, it was the biggest risk he had ever taken, leaving the security of an assured monthly income to essentially eating only what you kill requires serious planning and conversation with his wife. The transition from job to dream. How many people are going to leave their job this year? Just make some noise real quick because I can't see you. How many people are going to leave their job this year? Woo! How many people are going to replace their job this year? Woo! How many people are going to start living off the abundance of your business this year? Okay. I want to know about that transition and what it was like, the preparation leading up and then after.
It was planned. It was strategic. I never looked at school as a job, right? I looked at it as an investment. So the school district was my first investment. They got a return on the investment because I performed every year, every week. I watched the kids enjoy what I was doing. And so that money I used to have allocated, I would have investments. And it was slow growing, right? It's just a few stops. As Larry Leisure started, I was like, okay, this is not even a business yet. We're just trying to add value to people's lives. I remember going into work, and I think he called me one day, like, we gotta shoot an ad. I'm like, what is that? And I went to the bathroom, I put my phone, I recorded the ad, and it was like $17 for 1,000 listens. I'm like, oh wait, you get paid? And then started figuring out how that's gonna work. How do we get paid from that? Oh, okay, this is gonna actually turn into something. And I was like, you know what, if we get 20,000 listeners, I ain't gonna be doing this no more. Because I knew if 20,000 would calculate to a certain amount, and that would supplement the income that I was making from work. I was like, okay, so we get to 20,000, I'm like, all right, I'm not done yet. Because I still wanted to alter the plan. I was like, yeah, I could match my salary, but to leave, again, that quote unquote security of, I'm a W-2 employee, I got a salary, I got health benefits, I got a 403B, I got all these things working. I need to actually double it. So then the goal became to double that salary, double the salary. Still didn't stop. Then I started looking at my wife, and she's in attendance here tonight. So then, and so this is my style. I watched her working hard. The pandemic's happening. I'm watching her. She working 6 to 6. She told you some of the conversation as I'm working, watching her work out. I'm like, yo, they don't love me over there. You should leave. Like, they gonna replace you. And it's an argument. And I'm like, I gotta retire. Like, she can't work this hard for somebody else. In fact, when we talk about work-life balance, and he's right? It is imbalanced until your life becomes the work. And then you include your life in the work. And so the next goal is retire her, have her come work with us. Right now, this is not just my job. This is the family business. And the family business comes before anything. And so she's here tonight because she's part of the business, right? She understands the schedule. Her and Ab, shout out to Ab, they know my schedule. Like, they know my life. Their schedule, my God, was a So she understands what it takes for us to get here because, again, the mission is for the two people that we created together, our children, and for them to have generational goal. It was never about us, right? Like, first hit this goal, hit this goal. Now, how do we multiply this so that our kids never have to have such goals? There's going to be so much bigger that it changes the trajectory of our lives forever.
Speaking of like building a business, you guys expanded, right? You started, you guys just interviewing people. Then, out of nowhere, we run into this guy who swears he got a little crystal ball. I'm like, there's no way he knows what's going to happen before it happens. And then he starts talking about what happens before. Matter of fact, put your hands together. Ian
What's up? Red Panda's in the building?
To this day, he is the only person to come to an interview with a directorship.
And the director was terrible.
With gifts, you were the first person to ever bring. I still got that Tom Ford cologne that he brought. Dude was just super great. Came in a suit. I was like, I think he over-delivered on me. But it was interesting. He set a mark, and obviously, I mean, the rest is kind of history, but nobody came prepared to the interview like he did. And obviously, who was in the podium.
That's a fact. So make some noise for Ian. Every city that we've been going to, usually a book tour is just, you come, you sign a book, give it to some people, and then that's like call it a day. But we always try to over-deliver. That's like one of the keys to be successful. So we've turned these tour stops into like events. And every city that we've gone to, we've had people that actually are local to that city, live in that city, that have been on our platform. So we was in New York, we had MG, we had Derek, we had Angela Yee. In Atlanta, we had Piggy Cole, we had Ash Cash. And DC, we had Tiffany Cross, we had Congressman Lauren Underwood. In New Orleans, we had our guy Larry. And here, of course, we gotta have the master investor. So make some noise again for
how this came about to kind of expand. Because first y'all just interviewing people, then it just became like a whole nother show, Market Monday. So I'll ask you how how from your perspective, how this happened.
Power over networking and relationships. So when they came into Houston, I listed. I had a friend, Jury, who knew them, came, and she listen, it was lit, it was a vibe, they were smart. I was really pissed off. And she's like, okay, great. You did the interview. Interview went well. And it's the power of asking for what you want. I remember Rashad put a post. And he was like, hey, we're looking for other shows. And I'm like, one part is like, should I shoot my shot for the show or should I wait? Fuck it, I'll go for it. Hey, my guy, the interview went well. I know a guy. Something, and what I saw at that time, there were no investment shows for us. I didn't set out for us to have the best investment show for Black people. I wanted the best investment show, period. But I knew through partnership we could do it together. And going back to the trauma part, a lot of reasons why we don't partner together is out of ego and financial trauma. Because I don't want to look like I'm under somebody or they're bigger than me. Meanwhile, Microsoft and Google partner, Microsoft and Apple partner, Microsoft and AI partner, what we doing? Out of ego. Why? So out of a friendship that I had, it led to this friendship, partnership. And if I made you money, can I get a hell yeah? It's really the power in saying, hey, let's work together. I think y'all dope. The interview went well. The energy was great. Why not?
That's a fact. So let's talk about some investment. I know people want to know how to make some money. So Tuesday is a big day.
Crazy day.
Yeah, that's because the market is closed Monday, right? Tuesday.
How many people voted for Donald Trump and raise your hands? There was I have a suspicion.
Where the ushers at?
Yeah, at least one person in here voted for Donald Trump. But it's all good.
We got you.
So Trump is getting inaugurated on Tuesday. And of course, we see Bitcoin at $104,000. Yeah, for sure. Makes sense.
Real quick, yo. So, every time we get to one of these marks, this is just me personally, I don't know if y'all can relate. So Bitcoin gets to 100,000, you know what I'm saying? Missed the boat. Because I remember it was 60,000. But when it got to 60, I was like, missed the boat because it was just 30. And when it got to 30, you feel me? So,
why?
I know, no, I'm just, what should I do now? Because I feel like it's over, right?
Thank you. It's nowhere near over. It's really just beginning. So the people who missed out at 20,000, like Carter, 60,000, you have to realize that for those who've been in crypto for a while, the banks hated crypto 5 and 8 years ago. Now it's the #1 asset for them to invest in. It's not over. It won't be long before we're at 250. The question is, why don't people invest? It's in the title. Most don't believe that you deserve to be rich. And wait for the time. So if it drops 85,000, listen to Market Mondays every Monday. I appreciate y'all. Right? Do you think it's going to drop to 85,000? For sure?
Yeah,
For sure.
Is that it? It's good the ball?
For sure. Okay. My bad is my name. But when it pulls back, and this is why community matters, it's hard for you to do it on your own. But if a group of us text each other, shit, say 5,200, let's get it together. It makes it a lot easier to have that group accountability. And by then, everyone knows Apple is going to do well, Microsoft is going to do well. When you see BlackRock and Vanguard, they're loading the boat on this asset, how is it going to fail? It's impossible to do so. Like they're about to make a whole committee in the White House and new positions around Bitcoin. You can't listen.
And it's a misconception in our community for sure. I didn't even realize it until you talk to people. They're like, well, it's 100,000. I can't buy that. Not. See, somebody watch one day. That's what I'm saying. People will be discouraged because of the price point, right? Not realizing that it can be fractional. So whatever money you have is what you can invest. If you have $100, well, you'll just have whatever that decimal point is of a Bitcoin, right? Because one Bitcoin costs $100, but you can't afford that right now, which is fine. Use what you can, dollar cost average into it, right? Put small amounts that you can each month or bi-weekly or quarterly into the asset. We know it's going to appreciate. We've seen it over the past 13 years appreciate to being the greatest asset class in the history for sure investing.
Yes.
Right? When you're talking about percentage-wise, do what you can. use what you can, right? This is not something that you can miss out on. I always talk to people like, this is an asset class that we've seen in our generation. This doesn't happen in a lifespan. We may not ever see anything like this again. We have to take advantage of it.
And then also, it's the comparison thing. Like I said this before, like when I first bought Bitcoin, it was $5,000. And when I purchased it at $5,000, and my dad was saying, like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why would something cost $5,000 if it's not real? And then shortly after that, it went to $20,000. And then everybody was saying the tulip crisis of 1609.
It was a global conversation.
Yo, Googled it.
So no, it was an unbelievable thing. $20,000 seemed unbelievable, stupid. So two people felt two ways. One group of people felt that it was just stupid for getting $20,000. That you're just an idiot if you're still purchasing at $20,000. The other group of people thought that I missed the boat. It's $20,000. Like, how is something gonna go from $5,000 to $20,000? Like, it's not going any higher than $20,000. Then it crashes, gets back down to like $3,000. Then it goes, and then it's like, okay, now it hits $60,000, and then the same thing happens. This is stupid. Why is something? Then it crashes and it goes back down to 20. So what I'm saying is that it's never a bad time to buy good assets.
That's a great one.
It's not a bad time to buy Microsoft.
Clap up for that,
please. Is important. So yeah, you feel like you buying it high at 100,000, but when it gets to 200,000, you might not feel like that. When it gets to 150,000, you might not feel like that. But then the person that bought it at 60,000 is comparing himself to the person that bought it at 20,000. It's comparing himself to the person that bought it at 5,000. It's comparing himself to the person that bought it at 500. So you can't really look at it like that.
In any asset class, this is great. We lead this conversation. Focus on your plan, right? So if Bitcoin goes up to 200,000, and you put $1,000 in, well, you made 100%, bro. Right? Like, don't look at it like, hey, somebody made more. Like, you just made 100%. Show me an asset class that you can get 100% in within a short period of time. Right? You put your money in the bank for years. Your mom put her money in the bank for years. Your grandmother put her money in the bank for years in a savings account that got a 0.03%, and you never complained. Ever. You had a high yield savings account that got you 4.6%. At the highest, you never complained. You put your money in an asset and gained 20%, 30%. You're like, damn, somebody just had $1,000. No, you got 20. Be grateful for that.
I'm trying to ask questions that y'all want to know, but I got personal questions, so y'all gotta bear with me. Is there like another little coin? Right? So you got the Bitcoin, and there's a bunch of other ones. Like, what a little ball, bro?
I mean, you can look at Solana and XRP, but even with that, XRP was suppressed.
I'm sorry, what was that first one?
Solana.
That's the level.
That's so. Right. But look at this. The two correlations I want to make here. When Bitcoin was demonized by all of the banks in the States, they were buying it in Europe. Shout out to JP Morgan, but the truth is the truth, right? They were on CNBC demonizing the value of Bitcoin, but the European trading desks were buying it. XRP was suppressed. And the same people who suppressed Bitcoin 4 years ago suppressed XRP. And look at where it's going the last 7 days. No community is going to tell our people this is the next big thing. It never happens. They'll always demonize the asset before they take it over and then say, okay, now we want y'all to. So, XRP, but even when XRP was at 70%, nobody wanted it. Now it's at 3, same thing. It's too high. When it goes to $9, like, why didn't you tell me in Houston? XRP telling us in Houston right now.
But then also, what you said is you don't value good assets by price. Meaning, would you rather have a $3 million penthouse in Manhattan that's 1,000 square feet, or would you rather have a 3,000 square foot house? No, in Milwaukee, in the outskirts of. You would rather have the house in Manhattan because it's going to appreciate faster, right? You know that's going to hold its value. You know that Manhattan real estate always goes up through the course of time. Would your wife rather have a Louis Vuitton bag, a Chanel bag, or whatever? Right? What I'm saying is this.
Those other guys are guys.
I need the outer bag.
Michael Kors?
Michael Kors is crazy. Blackout. But what I'm saying is that you don't cheaper is not better. Or like, I mean, that's a mistake that people make in investments with it. That's when you start investing in penny stocks because you're like, oh, this is cheap. It's cheap for a reason.
For a reason, yeah.
So don't look at it from that standpoint of like, oh, it's too high, I want something cheaper. Usually it's high for a reason. And that reason is that because it's a valuable asset, a valuable company, or a valuable coin, right? Like you start going through the rabbit hole of these meme coins and you might hit it big, but you might also lose all of your money in one day. So you gotta be careful with that.
Yeah, he's preaching right now. Like, good guy, he's preaching. And this is the fact. Like, we always try to figure out what's the next thing. Well, the main thing's here. Right? Like, we don't need to find another Bitcoin. We have Bitcoin. Right? We don't have to say, like, who's the next Microsoft? Microsoft's here. Why am I saying that? I literally did that. Right? There's a company called Starbucks. You heard of it before? So I said, wait, Starbucks is doing so well. Let me find another coffee brand.
I remember this.
Right? 2019 this happened. I called you. So I do this research on this company in China, Lucan Coffee. And, you know, y'all remember Lucan? So y'all know how the story don't go. Right? And they had this great strategy of how, you know, they didn't take up retail space. They were just using, like, ghost kitchens. They had coffee shops, and they were, like, expanding in China, and they were already doubling Starbucks' numbers. I'm like, this is the investment. This is the next Starbucks. I made some money, right? I told y'all. Baby. Earnings report came that quarter. Headline, Lucan Coffee. All numbers are misled from counterfeit fraud. Stock went 80, I think it was $23 to 85 cents. I call Ian, I'm like, he's like, bro, Starbucks is here. This is early in the journey, but we're saying that so like you don't make that mistake. NVIDIA's here. We don't have to find the next one, right? The main thing is the main thing, right? Study good companies, follow those companies. Yeah, some things will pop up. Why am I saying that in this environment? Because the next thing is we hear is quantum. There are going to be some Lucan coffees inside that quantum space, for sure. Follow the good companies, follow where the money's going. Who's NVIDIA partnering with? Who's Microsoft partnering with? Right? Who's Apple partnering with? Those are the companies that I want to follow.
This is a mind-blowing conversation. We're backstage, we were talking, and I'm just so impressed by you. If there's anybody that deserves to be rich, it's you. Because your level of research, your dedication to this craft is just like you are really a gem that we all get to enjoy because you go and spend so much time trying to find this information. So for us, how do we start to go on this path of just becoming a better investor? Not just relying on what you're telling us to buy, but how do we become that type of entrepreneur?
If you're just starting out, start with 2 pages a day. Like most people don't read every day on any topic unless it's like shady or how they want to operate. So I want us to get into a habit of looking at the information that moves the world more frequently. Because if we know, like all the fellas in here, if you bet on sports, the same research that you're doing on if Wemby's going to get 30 points or not, it's the same thing, but it's just put into the stock market. So, and then you want to build up to 10 pages, then 50. Then once you get acclimated, you can go to 70 or 100 pages because you're figuring out the puzzle pieces. So when I built it, first of all, the foundation of it is just intaking the information, and you have a great book to start with, and you deserve to be rich.
Right. I think that's something too, like people discount. They're like, oh, I don't like to read. Well, how long are you on social media?
Facts.
How many captions do you read a day when you're scrolling? You're doing the reading, right? It's just about what you're using your mind to entertain, right? Like I get entertainment by finding out, like, yo, TSM is going to have a whole report that's going to go through the roof. That's exciting to me. Like I don't subscribe to it. It's not on my phone. Like that doesn't do anything for me. But the practice of reading is something that we're already doing. It's just about what we're choosing to digest, right? If we keep digesting nonsense, nonsense, right? then the results are never going to change, right? So if you want to have different results, you got to change what you're investing, what you put into your life.
Like I said, going back to the inauguration, what areas are you looking at as far as Trump's president? Obviously, no crypto. He's pro crypto, so that's going to be something that probably will be open. But what areas do you think that would be helpful for investors over the next 4 years?
I know none of y'all voted for Trump, right? But I'm going to show you how to get rich during this era. I want you to take out your phone, go to Google, and look at everyone who donated in the last 90 days. Sorry, donated to Trump.
To the inauguration.
Yeah, so if they went to Mar-a-Lago and gave $1 million and then went on Joe Rogan, the company's probably going to do pretty well. And I'm calling this the anti-VIX index for the first 2 years. So Elon, and then we talked about this on Breakfast Club, if I give you $100 million and I get $300 million back, it's a good investment. Tesla's going to do well. Meta's going to do well. Even though Bezos and Trump had issues, they end up donating. So they are buying protection, if you will, mitigating risk during the initial parts of this administration. And these
Bill Gates had a 3-hour dinner with him. Sam Altman donated.
Business Dig Night. So these are the ones, and as a beneficiary, Microsoft, they killed their DEI program because that's what they wanted. Now, if OpenAI has a great relationship with them and they're partnering with OpenAI, that's a double win for them. Microsoft, Meta, Tesla, Amazon, Twitter.
Has Apple donated?
No,
They're holding out.
they're gonna feel some pressure as a result too. And I commend them for standing on it, but in business, they're always gonna kiss the ring and do what's best for them because they're obligated to the shareholders. So you got to commend Apple for that. But we have to look at this more. Even after Mark Zuckerberg went to Mar-a-Lago, look how he was weaponized against Apple on Rogan briefly after. Trump won't say it. Elon won't say it yet. But now, go do my bidding for it, please.
Well, I'm on the little list. Yeah. Can I add to it?
For sure.
Yeah. I think, especially if you look at what they campaigned on defense, is something that we need to look at. Right? Like, we want to stay out of conflict, but
conflict is always going to be there.
They're always going to be there, and we're always going to be prepared for it. But conflicts is going to look a lot different, right? It's going to be from a cyber standpoint. So cybersecurity is definitely a space that we should be looking at. I know people watch CrowdStrike take a hit over the summer. CrowdStrike back at an all-time high. You see what I'm saying? Palo Alto, another company, right? We've already seen with Palantir. We told people 2 years ago when we were in Switzerland, we were looking at what Palantir is about to do in terms of surveillance, in terms of privacy, how they're already using data analytics on you and you don't even know it. 2 years ago we said that. Look at Palantir now, right? Talk about people who met with the administration, another CEOs met with the administration. Those types of companies are things you got to keep your eye on because if they're meeting with them, number one, they're probably getting government contracts, right? But number two, there's a vested interest that they perform, right? Because we.
For the average entrepreneur, what would be a formula? Is it, okay, I go out and build a business, I take a portion of that and invest it so it grows, or do I take the money from my job, invest it, and take the money out of that and build some sort of business so I can accelerate my investment? If you could draw out some sort of formula for an average entrepreneur here, what would that look like?
Take all 25% of profits and put it into the companies that want to grow. Because the truth is about entrepreneurship, customers, clients may not always be loyal to you. Anyone here have a business? Have any of your customers or clients stayed with you 7, 8 years, 6 years? People fall out of love with you. You're lucky if they have. But for most people, most clients only stay for 2 years, most customers for 3. Any of y'all Netflix shared passwords before they had the crackdown? It's a prime example. We have a Netflix and chill on somebody else's account, right? So what I've always told people is to put, if the entrepreneur is better than you, invest your money into them. I'm not better than you. That's why I put my money into the company.
Rashad, let me get your formula on how you approach doing well from a very foundational standpoint. I got a job, maybe I got something on the side. How would you go about it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the first step that you have to do is actually create a budget. That's in the book. Know where the money's going, how much money's coming in, how much money's going out, right? That goes back to organizational skills. Then you have to make budget cuts. Right? You got to make hard decisions about how you can actually save money because you can't invest money if you don't have money. So you gotta make budget cuts, right? But then you also have to find ways to increase your income. Then that difference is discretionary income. You gotta invest that. So as far as how to increase your income, I guess there's two ways to do that. You need multiple streams of income that support, right? So if you have a job, you need to create multiple streams of income, even as an employee. That's important. There's no excuse not to have multiple streams of income, even if you're an employee. So if you're a teacher, I talked about this before, you get paid to teach kids. That's one stream of income, but you should also be a tutor. That's another stream of income. You can actually have a tutoring business even better. Then you can actually write curriculum. We did. So you can actually, if you've done something for more than 5 years, definitely 10 years, you're an expert in the space. You have more knowledge than 99% of the people in the world. That makes you an authority. So you can't just look at yourself as an employee, you gotta look at yourself as an authority in whatever you do. So you're not just a math teacher, you're an authority in math, right? So now you can write new age education. You can help parents advocate for their kids. That's a business within itself. So many people have special needs, kids, children with autism. There's so many people that are in the school system that are being not treated to what they should be done, and their parents don't know how to allocate. There's billions of dollars in school districts for that. They say in 5 years or 3 years, right? So it's all a mathematical equation. Math is a universal language that's the same in every country around the world. So once you understand math, you understand the language of wealth. The language of wealth is through relationships and math. That's the two languages that's universal. No matter where you are in the world, you got to establish relationships. No matter where you are in the world, you got to understand math if you want to be successful. So if you don't learn anything else from this situation, if you want to be rich, master relationships and master math.
We've seen EYL grow from the kitchen table to iPhones. And I'm not trying to count your pockets, but sure. Walk through how EYL evolved with these multiple streams of income. You don't gotta give us all of them, but we need a few.
It's interesting. Like I said, we never started this saying like this is gonna be the core business. But when you get around wealth, you start seeing wealth and how it's built, you realize that you have to have multiple streams. And so this was pretty easy for us, right? We looked at it and we said, all right, people are listening to us. Number one, there's audio, that's true. But for the first 6 episodes, we had no video. Like, we taped it, but we never put it out. We created a YouTube channel after the 6th episode. Well, we knew after we got 4,000 subscribers, we could not monetize on YouTube. So there goes number 2. Then we were like, well, if people are watching us, we need to have something on us so that when they see us, they identify with us. So we came up with the slogan. China was like, assets over liabilities. And assets, the word assets over liabilities. It's money running up top. Well, that comes up in 3, right? Now we got 3 streams of income doing the same thing. All right, this is good. First year's we started doing pop-ups. Houston was one, Atlanta was one. Like, people are really rock this. We want to touch our audience to see how far we can spread this. All right, we got communities in these cities. What if we gave them a private education, right? Because we have a public one, which is the audio and the YouTube, but some people need even more detailed, more structured, more hands-on approach to this education thing. So we created EYL University, right? Now we got earners. Shout out to any earners in? For sure. So there goes the 4th one. As we're starting EYL University, we're like, events is something that we can do, right? Like, we can get people in the space. We did it when we did these pop-ups. We know if we go back to Houston, people don't show up. We know if we go to Atlanta, people don't show up. Let's do live events. And so the first one we do was in DC. That goes well. Like, all right, we did one in 2020, January 26th. I remember it was Kobe that passed away at your spot. So Dave Shands was part of that. So this is our real first live event. Oh, that one, really successful. Okay, now we can do live events. And so that's one still, okay, this is successful. Let's look at this landscape. People are doing events. I like what they're doing. Music is good. People are going to these shows. Let's create something that's unique, that's never been seen before. And this is how we do growth with investments. Right? The biggest financial conference in the world.
Anybody been to investments?
So these are diversified streams of income just from that. Then we get to learn from experts. So now imagine this. We get to sit down with people and they're telling us our business. You're great at that, right? You will put somebody in a space where they're gonna tell you every detail of their business because I know what Dave's gonna do. I can do that business. And so we started getting businesses like that. The vending machine company, that episode was incredible. We were actually just in DC with Joe Clear. He was telling us that episode made him go out and create a business for his kids, right? They got a vending machine company. We did it for our high school, right? It was something that was missing from our high school. It allowed us to employ some of the kids in our community. We gave internships to the kids in the high school and we gave all the money. No, we gave 25% of the proceeds back to the high school, to the senior class, to offset their prom, to offset their graduation fees. So we're giving back. You see what I'm saying? So these are the streams that are happening because we're being exposed to them. Now, you know, you got a New York Times bestseller on this. Come on, make some noise for
A big dog conversation, and I really feel like this seat deserves somebody else. There's a gentleman that I went out to New Orleans one time, and I saw this. Like we're just googling, what's the best restaurant to go to? Here, anybody ever been to Morrow's? So we go, food's phenomenal. Me and my wife are talking about it forever, and then I find out that not only does the owner of that business, that restaurant, have multiple restaurants. He looked just like me. I'm like, that's not like that. He looked like me because you think a fine dining restaurant like that, it's a big corporation, and it's just one man that is just absolutely brilliant. I need you to put your hands together for Larry Morrow!
Larry, we meet
How
again.
y'all doing?
Off the road, man. It's actually his birthday weekend in Houston. Every year he does like big birthday extravaganza. So he got parties all weekend, starting tonight all the way to Sunday.
Monday.
Yeah.
No days off.
So he's turning the city up. So being that he was going to be in Houston for his birthday, we invited him out and just see if he could share some words of entrepreneurship journey with Jim. So thank you for coming, I really appreciate it.
I appreciate y'all for having me.
So if you're not familiar with Larry, you definitely need to go to his restaurants when you go to New Orleans. How many restaurants you have? 5?
Yeah, 5 restaurants and 2 clubs.
5 restaurants, 2 clubs. He pretty much he's that guy in New Orleans, and he's young, 34.
Yeah,
34. So
Two people said, wow, no, he's 34, 5 restaurants, 2 clubs. Trying to figure out, like, I'm gonna pay for my groceries.
So how, as an entrepreneur, it's something that's an extremely tough business as far as the restaurant business, hospitality. How were you able to scale so quickly at such a young age?
Man, I think it was the pandemic that really did it for me. I was always ambitious and wanted more, but coming out of the pandemic, it's like this funk I had. I'm like, man, I'm trying to figure things out. The only people that made money really were people who, had consumer product goods, were selling stuff online. I'm trying to sell Forex and everything. I was trying to figure it out during the pandemic. So when I had the opportunity to open up my first club, Treehouse, in 2021, it was perfect timing because coming out of the pandemic, everyone wanted to be outside again. So if you got a club, a bar, a restaurant, I was able to really make a lot of money during that time. Had opened up Treehouse. I had Morrow's already in 2018. We was able to sustain ourselves through the pandemic and just utilize our social platforms to just manage and make money. It was actually profitable because we didn't have the overhead we did. We weren't having people dine in. So we only had a few people working. So it helped us actually make a lot of profit during that time. And then I opened up Treehouse and that helped make a lot of money. And I just started to double down because I had this moment where I'm like, is he going to be extremely wealthy or going to be extremely poor? And it wasn't no in between. So I literally doubled down in that moment and committed to so many different leases that I didn't even know I was going to pay. So I was literally like, I would see a property like I wanted. And I'll sign the lease. I would see a property I wanted.
sign a lease, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was just taking chances. But then 4 years later, a couple of properties that was leasing I purchased. So, I just had to walk out on faith and double down.
This is interesting because there's entrepreneurs in this room, and you started with Morrow's, but a lot of times in business we don't know when it's the time to scale, right? Like you've got 5 restaurants now, 2 clubs. I know the empire doesn't stop there. How are you determining when it's time to add another thing to the portfolio?
For me, it was just I kind of put the pressure on me. I forced myself to level up. I don't think if I made those commitments and decided to take those risks, I'll probably be sitting right here with y'all. So sometimes you got to put yourself in uncomfortable situations, and I think when you do that, you kind of force yourself to level up, and it don't always work out the way you want it to, but you got to take those chances. You only miss what you don't shoot at. You know what I mean? So I was taking my chances, and through the good grace of God, it worked out. I'm blessed to be able to just establish what we've established, and now the vision just getting bigger and bigger.
Well, as people are going back frequently, what's your marketing plan or system to keep people coming back to your locations?
I think we stay active on social media is one way, right? Because a lot of people, when I see a lot of restaurants, they post a few times a week. We post 3 times a day. Because when you see something constantly, whether you're from Houston, Miami, whatever, you put it on your bucket list. So we do that. I think, we do a great job of just, when people come in town, they may eat at the restaurant, I may give them a free section at Treehouse or one of the nightclubs. You got to give a lot, right? I don't try to just get people to come support and not give that in return. There's times where people may come in the restaurant and say, well, we've been all 3 spots. But really, let me give you a section tonight at Treehouse. So it's just being personable and showing that level of hospitality and over-delivering. And that's how I've been able to build, in this industry.
So talk about systems. I know you've been mentored by some of the top restaurateurs in the world. What have you learned from them, and what kind of systems? Because that's good for any entrepreneur to really understand.
I think starting off, you basically got to just navigate through it, do a lot of research, and build it out the best way you can. But as you start to build it out, you start to see, find ways to make it more efficient. I reached out to Eugene the other day, and with Catch Hospitality, and I'm like, when it pertains to reservations, how do you do X, Y, and Z? He said, all right, man, we'll put you on email with my team, put me on email with his reservation manager. I connect my reservation manager with it, and we was just able to get a little bit of information from his side of things, because he has, probably 6, 7, 8 locations, probably 1,500 employees, doing a significant amount of money. And it's just really just you just gotta just shoot your shot and just figure it out, but then along the way, just ask people in the industry, identify how they did it, right? So it's really no perfect answer, because sometimes you may have a better system built than them, but the only way is if you compare, and having multiple locations has allowed me to compare this one with this one, this one with this one, and just tweak a few things, and having different teams. Like this manager may identify how to make this operate a lot better and more efficient. So when we identify that, we just basically streamline it across the board.
Larry, we got a chapter in the book called Entrepreneurship, The Beautiful Struggle. And it's kind of fitting because we had a conversation yesterday, and I'm thinking to myself, in 3 weeks, the eyes of the world are going to be able to see. Right? The eyes of the world are going to be able to see New Orleans, obviously with the Super Bowl coming to town. Tomorrow's going to have a big role in that. What is that process like preparing for that?
Man, that's funny because I'm stressed out. Literally, I drove out here today, right? And I was on call for 5 hours, literally the whole drive. And because, I'm back to square one where I'm taking chances. And honestly, I'm feeling so many emotions. I got days where I'm flashing out, just trying to figure it out, because I understand that next level is going to require me to be uncomfortable. Been blessed to make it to this point, but this next level I'm trying to go to really is going to require me to be extremely uncomfortable. So outside of just having my venues, and I bought out this club. I'm like, you know what? I want to have the hottest events, because that's what I do. That's how I started. I want to have the hottest events for Super Bowl weekend. I was hoping that I get a lot of corporate buyouts. Unfortunately, how we spend money in our community, I haven't seen much money spent in our community, right? So I was hoping that was going to happen. Blessed to have the sponsors we do have, but man, it's tough because you want to put together something great for us, but then you spend a lot of money and you hope you can get the support you can, but you don't get it. But that's not going to stop me from doing what I'm doing. So I'm just constantly just figuring out day by day, actually checking everything off the checkbox, because that weekend I have 25, 26 parties. I bought this one club out for the whole week called Empire. I have Treehouse that I own. I have Hide and Seek that I own. I was on the phone with Netflix. I was on the phone with Dove the other day, Revolver today, Deuce, Ace. So I'm talking to all these people, different companies. I'm having this conversation myself because I want to be able to put my eyes on. I know what it is that I need, and I know what I'm looking for. So it's a challenge. I'm just basically just going through it, praying that the outcome, is what I need to be. So next time I come out to you, I'm coming on a helicopter.
But how do you recover extra money, right?
Recover how?
You got Mardi Gras right behind the Super Bowl. Yeah. Now Mardi Gras may not be as profitable because people may not do as much because it's hard to get your restaurant out, right? So how do you adjust for the money that you make when you do right? But you know what I'm saying? That people make a lot of money.
I mean, honestly, it won't affect the other, because if you come to New Orleans, you come to eat, you coming from Mardi Gras, so I don't think it'll have any effect. It's honestly a great thing because, we'll be able to start the year off, you got MLK Week, you got Super Bowl, you got Mardi Gras, you got French Quarter Festival, Jazz Festival, Memorial Weekend, Essence Festival. So honestly, supposedly they say whenever the Super Bowl comes to any city, it gives it like a 2-year stretch. It builds a lot of momentum because you got all these people coming to New Orleans, dining at these locations. It's the biggest event in the country for the year, like the biggest event of the year. So when typically when you see a lot of people came to New Orleans because they saw Girl Trip, right? That gave us a lot of momentum. And so Super Bowl, you see everybody come and have a great time. It makes you say, you know what, I want to go there, I want to eat there, I want to do this, I want to do that. So we don't plan to slow down, honestly, for the rest of the year. The end of this year was slower than normal, but I think, with Super Bowl coming and everything else, we're going to be extremely slow.
For those of the people here trying to scale a business, how do you manage everything that you run? 25 parties is a lot, 5 different locations. And then for the moments that you have doubt or fear, how do you overcome that?
So the first question, I don't know. I don't know how you handle it. How do you manage it? Is it something that, I don't have the answer, but I'm figuring it out. So, I kind of put myself in situations where I have no choice but to figure it out. It's like a good and a bad thing. I just want to figure it out. I'm blessed to have a lot of support, a lot of employees and friends and, people that just want to contribute. But, we're figuring it out right now. Like I haven't even started booking people for Treehouse or Hide and Seek. I should be just been focusing on the venue that I bought out for the week because it's the biggest. And that's where the most potential to make the most profit, but it's also where I have the most money invested to I can actually lose the most money. So focusing on that, and a lot of artists and talent are reaching out. So it's gonna be easy to plug people into Treehouse and Hide and Seek. So it's not really my concern, because those two operations run on their own. Like I don't have to step foot in it. I can book the talent, and my team is gonna run it. The bigger one is where Empire holds 3,000 people. We got 50 Cent. Let me go ahead and do some promo right here. We got 50 Cent on Friday. We got 50 Cent. Saturday, we got one of the biggest artists in the game, just waiting on confirmation. And Sunday, we got Lil Baby, the finale. Possibly, Kim Burns sitting right there. We're going to have a day party. I'm going to put this out there right now. We have a day party. Me and D-Nice, Tank, and a bunch of us. Who else? Sunday. got a crawfish board. We're gonna keep it real in New Orleans. So got a bunch of stuff going on in Empire, so make sure y'all come stop by.
So before we go to Q&A, I wanted to ask, you get a lot of celebrities, like you said, 50, I mean, you book Fab, and he's here right now. Fab, he's doing something for you this weekend, and The Baby, and you see Kenny Burns, you book a lot of celebrities. How is that working in that space? Because I know it could be difficult. How have you been able to establish those relationships? You've been able to navigate that entertainment world with dealing with, an industry that sometimes is not great at handling business, but you're a businessman.
I think how it was just more so I believe in just letting things happen organically. Sometimes people come to New Orleans and we may build or we may not build, but typically if you come to New Orleans at this point, back then, when I was little Larry running around trying to figure it out, I was doing these events, I was always making sure that I was over-delivering, right? I would have people come in town and I would roll this carpet out, police escorts, I'm talking about. Man, I remember, Tiana, I booked Tiana for a party. And then she ended up pregnant, right? So, trying to add that up. Right, I'm booking for a party. She ended up pregnant. I'm like, all right, cool. And this been a good friend for a long time. And I'm like, you know what? Let me do something nice for her. So I had my team deck a whole bedroom out with a hotel room out with just congratulations and different things like that. Because she's a good friend of mine. But it's just more so just over delivering, just showing people that, it's not just a money thing. It's more so about investing into a relationship. And that's one of the ways that I've been able to build my brand by just investing into a relationship, not just the events. And there's times where I will produce events and lose money, knowing that it's a possibility I'm gonna lose, but was more attracted to the possibilities of what can come from it. And me doing that for a decade, since the age of 20, honestly put me in a great position to where I was planting seeds that I didn't realize I was planting, to where when I opened up Morrows in 2018, man, all that energy I put out there, all the seeds I planted, it came full circle because Fab would come in town. Oh man, we'll be at the restaurant. They would see it on Instagram. Mary J. Blige, Drake, everybody who I booked previously, they came back and showed that same love. But I didn't know I was over tomorrow. It was just kind of, I was being intentional about it, but just trying to build a relationship. So, basically just navigated by just putting relationships on the forefront, which really, really, really helped bring all this together.
All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to open it up for some questions. They're going to give you my mic. And we're going to have a couple of questions, because I'm sure some people have some questions, and you can ask questions for anybody on the panel.
I'm only taking questions from women because we've got a whole panel. Let's go.
Hi, Dee Jackson. Troy, you and Rashad, you guys interviewed my mentor, Xavier Williams, out at CBC some months ago. And we talked about the global Black GDPX and how, the work we're doing with the United Nations and White House, and basically us finding out that by 2053, Black Americans are slated to have zero wealth. And also within the next 25 years, 40% of the planet is going to be Black. So I want to know, and I'm sure you guys have covered it in the book and I'm excited to read it, but I want to know what do you guys think Black people can do today as an action item to start shifting that looming statistic, because it's happening. What can the everyday person do to start thinking differently about money or just wealth or generational wealth and stability?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a thing called propaganda. I think a lot of times, if you consistently tell people negative things and they'll start to think negative about themselves, lower their self-esteem and lower their expectations. So I don't necessarily know where they get these statistics from, but I don't think that it's a coincidence that it's permeated so much, right? So I think the first thing that we have to do is, like I said, take accountability of ourselves one day at a time. If you start to invest and you start to save money and you start to grow your investment account, well, you're not going to be one of those people, right? So now if everybody does that, then that statistic just blows up right there. But then even bigger than that, as far as entrepreneurship, I think we really got to look at the way that we look at entrepreneurship, because we are at the mercy of people as long as you are working for somebody. But if you can actually grow a business that's actually able to employ other people, Now you don't have to worry about DEI programs so much, right? You do have to worry about it on a certain level because with the DEI, what they're not talking about is how it's really going to affect government contracts, and that's a big thing. And Elon Musk, most of his business is provided through government contracts. So that is a nuance to the DEI conversation that's not really talked about enough, but that's a different conversation. But like I said, if everybody champions for themselves to take control of themselves, right, and makes it their journey to get $10,000 invested, $50,000 invested, $100,000 invested, and everybody makes sure that they have life insurance. That's important, right? You're guaranteed to leave money to your children. You're guaranteed to leave them a nest egg. They're gonna start from. If everybody's putting money away for their children while they're still alive in an UPMA account or a 529 plan, if everybody's doing those individual items, don't have to be too difficult. If everybody's doing those individual items, that statistics, I don't know how that statistic stays true.
Yeah, I think the second part, just to add to that, because everything Shadi's saying is true, I think working together is the other piece, right? Like after we've set that plan for ourselves, how can we build it together? Like people take for granted that we've done this together, but I think Ian is a perfect testament to that. Just somebody that believed in us, we believed in him, and we take pride in watching his success. And he does the same for us. Larry, we worked with as well. There's partnership and brotherhood that's happening all across entrepreneurship that we don't see at the highest levels in corporate, right? Like you, my man, Champion, shout out to Champion, right? I take pride in his success. It doesn't cost me anything to give him information. I want to see him do well. In turn, he's going to tell his friends, and they're going to want to see him do well. They're going to do well for themselves. But working together, not hoarding information, which we've seen for generations, is changing. So like that statistic, it sounds crazy, but there's something that's brewing. And everybody in this room, you know it, and you feel it, and you're part of it. And we just got to keep going. All right?
Hi, my name is Cash. So you're teaching financial literacy, and that's a form of generational wealth that you're passing down, right? To me, and I believe you're teaching courses and whatnot over in New York. Being from the Bay Area, I'm currently partnering with the #1, or should I say the first school in California to implement financial literacy into the curriculum. So I'm trying to figure out how does one mandate across California, and so I'm just wondering how does one partner with EYL to incorporate that actual you deserve to be rich book into the actual curriculum. They just actually bought like 15 of their books because they want to build it in, but just trying to figure out how does one do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the ads in here. We'll get all your information so we can make that happen. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Candace Thibodeau. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. And one of my questions is I heard a lot about investing, and I hear stigmas around real estate right now and interest rates. And I know that real estate has been a form of wealth creation, and just kind of getting an idea of what's your take on real estate, the real estate market right now, because I hear people saying, well, you shouldn't buy real estate right now because interest rates are high. But then I'm also like, well, we don't, I feel like rent is bad too because you ain't really getting no return on your rent. So I'm just trying to figure out if investing in real estate right now is a win or should we wait? Like, I just don't know. Just trying to get a stance on that.
Yeah, it's like similar to stocks. Like, it's always a good time to buy good companies. But if you buy bad companies, you get hurt. So all stocks are not created equal. So I think the way that we look at real estate just has to be retrained. A lot of times people are going into too much debt for properties that they can't afford in the sense of behind the 8 ball. They don't anticipate the other costs that are associated with real estate, like property tax, like home upkeep, like HOAs and all these types of things, right? So it's like you go into it and you just think I'm just going, this is my mortgage and that's it. And then it's like, damn, I didn't even know I had to pay all this insurance and all this tax and I cut grass and then my boiler breaks and then I got to my toilet chain. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like a salad. It's just like you end up working just to pay your mortgage. That's not a recipe for success. It's not a recipe to grow wealth. And America encourages you to take on debt. So you buy a home and your goal is to put the lowest amount of money down. Well, the real winner in that is the bank. Because if you buy a $500,000 home and you put 20% down, by the time you end up paying, it's going to be $1 million in 30 years, right? So real estate is definitely beneficial because good homes always go up over the course of time. People always need somewhere to live, but it's about being intelligent about it. It's paying over asking is not intelligent. That's like buying a stock that's super inflated, right? Buying a home that you really can't afford, that's not intelligent. Right, not having enough savings and then buying a home or cashing out your 401k for a down payment, to me, that's not intelligent. You would be better suited to actually rent and then just invest the money saved so you can actually afford to buy something, or buy a multi-family home and then actually have tenants paying rent, right? That's something that's actually more affordable. That's not sexy, but once you get over the good look, you can make some good money.
Instructions that I only take one more. Okay, so don't look at me like I'm okay, so you gotta show me here.
Good evening. Thank you all so much for your time. My name is Shahara. Hey, Ian. Good to see you, friend. And I'm the co-founder of Speak House, and we offer communication coaching for leaders and their teams. And you all talked about partnership, and you talked about relationship, and then being in business together is like a totally different relationship. What's the best advice that you can offer those who are deciding to go into partnership officially and or are already in partnership on how to navigate that very unique, almost marriage it is?
Good to see you. We went to college together. Clap it for In our community, I think the number one thing that's not talked about before you get to equity procedures and all that is, can you both put away your ego? Same in any interpersonal relationship, is who can put away the ego and love each other the most. Now, you have to find somebody who's willing to put away the ego for a long enough period of time for you both to thrive. Just like any relationship, you're gonna have hard talks. But the thing that I've always watched, and you can see in their character, when there's disagreements, I'll bring up stuff to Troy and he's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. That's a great point of reference for his character. So it can be tough, and it may take a while. Like before we did Market Mondays, I had a similar idea that I brought to 22 other people. Majority of them black. Most said black people don't want to hear about investing. Then I went to New York. Episode was great. Now I say, thank God the other relationships didn't work out. So it's going to take time. Pray about it. But I think the answer is to find someone who's going to put ego aside for the relationship.
Todd Davis, can you report to the stage? Can we get the lights on, please? Before it's not over yet. All right. So a few housekeeping items. If you can go to Amazon and leave a review for the book, that's helpful. Thank you. I appreciate it.
We know it's helpful, but leave a review tonight.
Appreciate it.
Okay? It's a very political way to say it tonight. Who will do it tonight? It takes a few seconds. While you're online, take these pictures. You can be on Amazon. It's a 5-star. I'm just telling you. Okay?
So, and then we've been doing this at every tour stop. If you can hold, everybody stand up, hold your book up. And we've been doing this, but it's only right, we got Ian here, so it's only right that he does this. Yeah.
On 3, I need y'all to say, you deserve to be rich. 1, 2, 3.
You deserve to be rich! Let's practice run, okay? Here's how it goes. I deserve to be rich, and then we clap. And we say, so y'all feel me? It can't just be, you deserve more energy, okay? Houston, I need y'all to turn up for me, all right? So let's practice real quick. 1, 2, 3. You deserve to be rich! Let's try this again. Big
big energy. 1, 2, 3.
Houston, we love you guys so much. Thank you. And we're going to a day party for Larry tomorrow. What's the day party?
Day party is at Forget Me Not. So y'all pull up.
What time?
We'll watch the games and everything. Pull up. They're on LarryMorrowEvents.com. So LarryMorrowEvents.com. Y'all pull up. We'll see y'all there. Kenny Burns, come say what's up. Nice.
Also, we got to thank a lot of people that made this tour was crazy 5 days. So we want to thank our videographer, Todd. He's been traveling with us, shout out to Todd. We want to thank Big Shands. And we got to thank our guy, AB. I don't know where he's at, but...
Report to the stage, man. Stop showing me that.
I'm busy.
Yeah. He's been handling everything from us for a long time. So, you know, it's when you see this happen, it's a lot of people that's behind the scenes that's actually making this happen, and we definitely appreciate it. And we definitely appreciate the Black-owned bookstore, the Black-owned video, all that stuff. Kenny Burns, what are you wearing, man?
The dream.
You're looking very Atlanta right now.
Hold on. Clap it up for this guy right here, y'all. Hey, I told y'all, and this is important that y'all know, nothing happens in early leisure without him knowing he's been a model friend, but even more importantly, a brother and just the hardest working dude I know. This tour doesn't happen without him. Clap it up for him. We did it! 5 seasons, 5 days. 5 nights. We outside tonight.